and welcome tonight at Mythodea Insider on SKALD TV. Tonight we're gonna talk with Lester and me, and later on Tom will join us as a surprise guest. Oh, I spoiled the surprise.
What? You ruined it.
I ruined it. About a new thing we are doing that helps you on creating your character. It's called the Character CV. So we're gonna dive into this. Without further ado, I'm gonna ask my young colleague here, Lester, what is this Character CV we are always talking about?
You generally have a character sheet or a bunch of stats in a video game or role-playing game, and it says, I don't know, for instance, your name, but mainly it gives you a bunch of stats like thievery level 7 and magic, fireball level 3. A lot of people in Germany nowadays play with, more with role-playing aspects, more with you can do what you are able to represent in the game mechanics, and what we have as an optional choice for our players at Mythodea will be an up-and-coming character CV, where instead of a sheet of stats, you can decide to pick a bunch of background information on your character, which may or may not help you in your play and your immersion. But at the same time, if you want to have a sheet with stats, you can still create one. It's not a problem. But again, we give you another option.
That would have been my first question.
I'm sorry.
We have the character sheets, yeah, and are they gonna get replaced by that CV?
No, not necessarily. The CV is optional, and so is the character sheet. If you intend to create a character based on stats, you can do that. It's not a problem. If you decide you want to use this character CV, it's also okay. You can do both, or you could do neither. Make it your own. If you decide that it helps you, then use it.
Yeah. So basically, last week we pointed, or it's two weeks ago already. We pointed out all that stuff we are doing, like the rule sets and character CV we are discussing today. Are basically the recipe how to get the most out of our events, because it's how we design our events, and if you play that play style, it's the play style the event is directly designed for. So that is in order to get the best experience out of our event. We highly suggest to play with this things we explain in those sessions here, which doesn't mean if you don't want to play with those things, then you don't have to. Okay, so diving into this, what is the character CV? And what does it contain? So how do you what's the content?
So I'm going to try and answer your questions a little bit better. I'm really bad at that. I seem to veer off. But what does it contain? Generally, it contains questions that you can ask yourself, and in answering them, you'll have some ready answers when you jump into the game. It can help you to, you're confronted with a situation, and you remember, oh, I filled out a question. It's 10 or 20 questions, depending on how many you want, depending on which character sheet you take. Then you already have an answer. Well, in this situation, I'll react like this, because my character, I remember, I wrote it down. He would react that way. That's it's just the natural way he would react. So it helps you a little bit. But some people, they've been LARPing for ages. They don't need it, perhaps, but it can help. That's what we think.
Yeah, it definitely did help me when I was at Sturmbach.
You also filled out one.
Yeah, I also filled out one, and it's basically the easiest way to play. It's a very easy way to play a consistent character, because you have that simple things that drive and motivate you. and depending on the situation, you can turn to another question that's in the CV, so that you can basically look it up in your mind. So what would drive me in this situation? Shall we go into the questions? Like what are the questions first, or?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So what is the first question in the CV? What is the first question?
I think we'll start with something simple today. We'll do the Atteron questionnaire, the Atteron CV, which we had Markus do. We'll do a more complex one later. This will be very fun. I'm teasing later content with Tom. This is going to be kind of funny, I swear. But yeah, the simple one with all the answers that you have embedded in your mind, the Atteron questionnaire. The first question is quite easy. A lot of people will know this when they get into the game. What is my character's name? What was your character's name?
Jonathan Dorian of Oakwood.
Okay. And these questions, they more or less describe actions and the way you'll act. So the second question is, how do you contribute to society? What is your standing? What is your standing? How did you contribute to society?
Yeah. So my character was like a servant at the court, and he had a bad accident at one time, so that left him severely burned, but also unable to further on fulfill his duties. So he was kind of the third wheel in the court, and everybody kind of kept up with him, like
they supported you in a way, yes?
Yeah, but obviously I wasn't taking a central role or being useful in any kind of way, but they kind of allowed me to be there because I did something big for the royal family once, and that was also why my accident happened. And but that also made me do a lot of pauses and be very slow in everything what I was doing, like in real life.
Sounds like you have some secrets.
Yeah.
So the third question in the questionnaire for Sturmwacht for Atteron would have been, what is one of your positive attributes? Is it bravery? Is it, for instance, that you're very giving? Is it that you're very supportive? What were you?
Yeah, in case of Jonathan, it was like his loyalty. He was like to the death was his motto for the king's family.
I see.
And that kind of clearly defined him in the earlier stages of his life.
Okay, now we get to some tricky ones, because the first three questions, I mean, your name, you got to know that generally, unless you're playing an amnesiac, of course. But how do you make your money? Easy. What are you really good at? Also kind of easy. Fourth question, bit hard. What's one of your issues? What's one of your core problems? What's one of your faults? That's kind of hard for heroes.
Yeah, for Jonathan, it was clearly like he was very envious of everybody who was in good health, because he wasn't anymore, and he really missed that part where he could be useful to people around him, but he couldn't anymore, and that is why he also kind of was easy to manipulate.
Okay, was that, if I can ask, was that hard for you to play? Was that because I mean, I wouldn't say that's the kind of person you are in real life. You are role playing someone different than you are. How was that as an experience for yourself?
Yeah, having something like that always gave me a way to get into play with somebody else, because I could grudgingly compliment them for their health or for their beautiful skin.
Oh.
and get into play with them that way, and create situations,
Yes, that's kind of one of the things we aspire for the character CV to do. We want it to generate play. We want it to be a sort of cheat sheet for you. You don't know what to do. Well, I remember some questions. Here's what I can do. Markus, in this case, he he walked up to people and told them they were very beautiful in a grudging way.
Yeah.
That's a bad summation, but
I kind of enjoyed that because I was wearing that mask. I don't know if we see it in the. So since I was a burn victim, I was wearing. Can we see it? Yeah. All right. I was wearing that mask, and so I would come up to people and tell them, "You have beautiful skin," you know. That was like a really great experience, to be honest.
Yeah, it kind of gave you some gray shades as well, because you weren't a bad character, but people thought you were creepy. A lot of people thought, well, maybe there's something behind the mask, but you were just someone who was severely disfigured and had some troubles, and I thought that was kind of a brave character to play. But next question. This is kind of an easy one as well, kind of great for groups when you're playing in a group. What is something that everyone in your circle knew? So what did Atteronians know about John Dorian? What was the one thing that they just associated with you?
Yeah, they knew about the incident. Yeah, so that I rescued one of the a member of the royal family from a burning house, and that is why I had this severe burns, and that kind of gave me kind of special status as being the useless but tolerated person around the royal family. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's kind of works with one of the principles that we try to use in our events, which is share your secret. So what would happen wouldn't be that Markus or John Dorian wouldn't approach you and he wouldn't say, well, you know, by the way, I saved one of the nephews or one of the princes. That wouldn't happen. What would happen would be Sir Dean would be talking to his page Zachary, and they would say, well, do you remember that bravery when John Dorian saved the nephew of the prince from the fires? And they would have that conversation a little bit louder, and they would wait for players to hear it. The players would hear it. They could engage with the two characters talking about the story, or they could go up to John Dorian and dig a little deeper, find some secrets, find some plot points. Yeah, that's one of the things that you can do with one of those secrets or things that everybody knows about you in your group.
Yeah.
But you can do that with anyone, any group. You don't need Atteron for that. If you're part of a barbarian group, if you're part of any sort of group, you just share your secrets along or some things that people know about you, and then you motivate people before the event to share that out so that people from the outside come up to you, they start playing with that.
Yeah, but it's at first it seems counterproductive. So I have a secret, so why should I share it? Then it's not a secret anymore. But on the other side, we need to remember what's the goal here. The goal here is create good play, good situations and good play, things people can play with. And so a secret nobody knows about is, if it comes down to play, it's totally useless because nobody can play with it.
In fact, it never happened.
Yeah, it never happened. Yeah. So basically, one of the biggest things in that play style is if you have a secret, make sure it leaks one way or the other. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say there's a difference between this kind of secret and your deepest, darkest secret. That's something we'll talk about in a minute. Yeah. This is something everybody knows. This is like a little secret. This is like a little tidbit that can leak outside, that people can pick up and play with you. That's like an easy connector. But yeah, we'll get to real secrets later on, but it sort of works with the same mechanic. So here we come to another thing. This is
it's like it was really hard to eat with that mask on.
Oh.
So basically at that point I was at the big banquet, and basically I tried to eat, but I failed. So because the thing was sitting over my eyes, and I was constantly going like with the fork trying to hit my mouth, and it was not possible. So basically Julian, who is the knight of Atteron next to me,
he's actually a lord. He's a lord of Rosegard.
He's a lord.
I'm sorry, I'm a bit of a nerd there.
Being all fancy here. And he kind of fed me. That was weird. I thought I'm too young for that.
Okay, moving on. People feeding Markus.
Yeah.
Next question would be, and it's not actually too many more questions, but what is something that no one in Atteron would know about you? And don't tell too much of your secret, but maybe you can hint at something that no one in Atteron knew. Some players found out, clever players, good role play, but can you hint at it? Can you, in a way?
Yeah, I was kind of, when I mentioned before that this loyalty thing really defines me, you know, it came to pass that due to my injury and due to the life I had to leave afterwards, I kind of might have been not totally keen on being loyal anymore. So that is probably a little hint here.
Okay, maybe there is some mystery beneath that mask. Okay, I think that's enough of the secret. Let's not go any deeper there. Let's leave some stuff up for guessing for players, you know, for deeper role play. Now here's a question that a lot of players should think about, because death can be something great in a role-playing game, and death should be rewarded in a great scene. And for that to happen, you kind of need to envision what would be your character's best death, and that kind of goes hand in hand with what would your character give his life for. Like Boromir gave his life for Frodo. That was an epic scene. Now, if you think about that, then maybe later on for your character, 5-6 years you've been playing him, you want to end the character, you envision how you could finish your character, or what you would finish your character for the most epic scene. What would be John Dorian's best death? What would he give his life for?
Yeah, so that was pretty ambivalent in a way, or that kind of drove that character. There was this, like, in his early, like before his injury, he was kind of a straight arrow. For him, loyalty was what defined him, and he would give his life for this royal family, because that was what drove him and what where he got his identity from. And after the whole burning incident and the way everything worked out later on, he wasn't that sure anymore, and he wasn't even feeling that there is anything anymore he would give his life for. And that kind of purposelessness kind of also was a driving factor in a lot of things. So it's where he was very, very moral and clean before, he was very broken and ambivalent afterwards. Yeah.
Well, it's a very complex character. The answer isn't so easily given. For few people, it can be you're the bodyguard of a very famous character, like for instance, there are archons who have very loving and trusting sidekicks or bodyguards. I mean, we have a good friend here in Frankfurt. I believe his perfect death would be to give his life for Marius Archon. For instance. For Colin. Yeah. An assassination attempt, and he takes the arrow for him. I think that's probably how he would want to die. I'm just thinking out loud here because we couldn't get you a good death here. We tried. I don't know. My favorite character death for my knight would be to lie in the arms of his squire and then tell him a little secret just before he dies. That would be my favorite death. Okay, 2 more questions. Who have you sworn eternal vengeance to? And that doesn't necessarily mean death. That can also mean besmirch their career. That could be anything. Who is your nemesis, and how would you try to make their life very hard?
Yeah, this for me, this person is not known. It's the person that caused that fire, and that turned my life upside down. And so for me, it was a driving thing to find out who was responsible for that.
But that's great, because that question, although you don't necessarily know who you're going to try and whose life you're going to try and make hard, if you ever have a moment where you don't know what to play, you could walk around, try to find out who was responsible. So you always have a quest.
I was playing an NSC. I could have other players help me, for example, find that out, you know, or help me getting my vengeance or something.
Yeah, of course. NSCs at our events, they don't solve their problems. They need help from the players. But yeah, that could have been something that you would do. You would approach people. You would ask them for help if ever you did not know what to do. Last question from our Atteron character sheet. This is the short one. There's also a long one. But yeah, we thought we would pick the short one for now. Which person are you connected to? Who is very important to you?
So that would have been Prince Liam, because he was the person I rescued from a fire.
And fair enough, but what sort of play would generate from that? I mean...
Yeah, I would be very protective of him, because I would feel like this is everything I went through would have been wasted if he would be dead. Yeah. And so I would try to stick around and take care that nothing happens to him. You know?
And even if Prince Liam, because he was a celebrity at Sturmwacht, everyone wanted to play with him. If you didn't have time to play with Prince Liam, you could still talk to people about him and how you saved him and how important he is to you, and people will understand. We have him on screen. What an actor! I mean, he looks like he's 12, but he's definitely not. I mean, it's great that you can...
You look like you're 12.
I do. That's fair. I will be 13 coming December though. So jokes on you.
Yeah, there you look like you're 50.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the compliment now. Thank you. What I wanted to say though is...
by the way, that is a little bit off topic, but I really like that picture when Suppel photoshopped that hat on top of Philip Heidkamp. That was awesome.
Okay, that picture is not gonna leave the internet, is it?
Yeah, no.
Well, that's the end of your character sheet. But before we finish this, maybe we talk about how or if it helped you, Markus.
Yeah, for me this was very useful, because it gave me something to go along in play situations, so I could always go back to my character sheet and add that little piece of puzzle into the situation, and that would always give me an angle what to play.
I see, yeah.
And so that helped me a lot, and it made the role I played a little bit more three-dimensional. You know?
I'm glad it helped you out. Yeah. Next up, we'll have a slightly longer character sheet, and we will put our director, Thomas Miller, in the hot seat. He's preparing a character, and he doesn't allow me to ask about it, but I thought if we put him in front of the camera, he kind of has to say something. So I'm going to ask him a bunch of questions, and he's going to have to answer on the fly.
Yeah.
You suck! No one heard that.
Yeah. But before we do that, we go on a little break for approximately 5 minutes. Then we are back. We rearrange everything here that Thomas can have his place. And see you back in 5 minutes.
Take us back in, Markus.
Are we back on?
Okay.
Yeah. We had a little technical difficulty here.
This is why I can't leave that side of the desk.
Yeah. So this is.
I don't mind.
All right.
I'm okay.
Hello, we are back with SKALD TV tonight with Lester and Tom, our art director, and the guy that's usually behind the camera, not in front of the camera in this stream, and me, Markus. We do a little disclaimer right up front. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you can, I don't know if you know that, you can hook it up to your Twitch account, and then your Twitch account is Twitch Prime, and you give us one free subscription every month. It will cost you nothing. It will give us a little bit of money to refinance the stream, and it will help our statistics. Thank you very much in advance for that. And also, if you have an idea about what to present here on SKALD TV, if you have a project, if you have a character you want to portray, or if you have a group you want to portray, or you have a convention or orga that you want to portray, please drop us a mail at tv@skald.com. Our fantastic booker Eva will contact you, and we will find a slot for you right here.
That includes internationals with Zoom calls. So if you are international, we can make that work with Zoom as well.
Exactly. You do not necessarily have to come into the studio, although we kind of prefer that. But if you're come from a long distance or something, we do a Zoom call. It's not a problem. We will still be looking forward to have you guys on the channel, because otherwise it's always us talking here, which is probably boring. I don't know.
I mean, no.
It's not boring at all. Okay, going to Thomas, you guys prepared something, so it's about the character CV, and probably Lester, you walk us through it.
Yeah, it's this is more a sort of prank I'm pulling on Tom. So Tom is a fantastic artist, but what you may not know about him is he's also a nerd, and
huge nerd,
absolute nerd, and Tom is actually really good at costume creating, and I think the first picture we would like to pull up is some concept art of one of the costumes he's working on. And yeah, can we get that up, Emma? Yes. Thank you very much. Thing is, Tom's really busy, and I sort of have as a personal agenda to make him work on a character. So let's first look at the concept art, and then let's run by some character questions on him. He's not prepared.
No,
so,
this is totally not okay.
And this isn't just a joke. This isn't just a joke. We want to show you how quickly it's possible to answer these character sheets, and how on the fly you can prepare for an event. If you're driving with someone, okay, if you're driving yourself, you can't do this, but if you're driving with someone, you can quickly answer these questions before an event and give yourself a little help.
This will be interesting. Let's do this.
Let's talk.
Character costume. So the concept art, this is a barbarian character that I have been kind of working on for a while. Emma, is there a problem? You need help? You all good? Okay, cool. I'm kind of having to make sure Emma's okay behind the camera as well here. Okay, so character concept that I've been working on for, let's see, the last, 8-9 months now. Maybe a little bit more than that. I don't know. When did I first start it? People are dying behind the set here. Lester, do you remember when I started this character?
I think it's 12 months ago when I started this job.
So it was pretty near that. So yeah, I basically had this idea to do a kind of barbarian wisdom-seeking character, and the idea was to kind of go with a lore keeper. I always play warriors, and I wanted to change things up and play something new. So this was the character. My buddy Bill helped me with some of the art on this. We kind of went back and forth on different character concept ideas. I enjoy character concept, but I still feel it's really important to bounce ideas off of your friends. And Bill does great costumes like this, so Bill helped me out with some art, and we collaborated on that, and what you see there is kind of what we ended up with.
I think it's going to be pretty interesting. Maybe you can hold up the first progress you've made.
Yeah. So you can't even see it. I don't even know why. Emma, can you go tight on camera 2? What is it currently set for right now? Yeah. Can you? Yeah. Okay.
That is also a question from the audience, which is, what inspiration did you pull for the hound belt, Tom? So
so the hound belt. If Emma can go tight on this, we can kind of discuss the plan here. Merlin, can you hit camera 1 on the ATEM system, please? There we go. Cool. So so the idea is that behind this hole here is brass, and then it kind of is a mixture between like the classic wrestling belt and like your kidney belt for weightlifting, kind of a combination between them. But I wanted something that was going to be comfortable, that I could hang everything from. You can see in the concept art, that was kind of the direction I was going with. So it is 2 pieces, front and back, and they strap together. Inspiration for the belt was basically like a mixture of Norse and Celtic art. I kind of like that style, so it's kind of going with that. And there's a bunch of other stuff that I have in my head. I have not gone over these questions with Lester, so this is going to be interesting. And maybe some of these questions will, based on the questions that you were asking Markus, I think some of the questions will be answered in that. So yeah.
Anyway, really interesting concept art, but that's not really what we're here for. I'm looking forward to seeing you create it, and I'm hoping that the community will pressure Tom, bully him perhaps.
Oh god.
Positive
bullying? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, no, definitely. Bullying is great in the office. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Maybe people can give Tom some good feedback to the concept, maybe to some of the answers he's going to give to the questions, and maybe that will spark some work on the costume.
Talking about bullying, a strange user here in the chat, Cassius82. I don't know who that is. Yeah,
first time caller.
Definitely never been on the stream.
Who is Tom?
That's true. A lot of people don't actually know my legal name. In the office, everyone calls me by my legal name. In the rest of the world, people know me as Beol, and that's what most people out there know me as.
What was that again?
Beol.
Can you repeat that?
Beol.
Okay, and the second question, which is even more interesting, is
Beol.
How old over 40 are you?
How old over 40 am I? I am 30 years young.
All right. That was not nice.
That's a weird thing that Mr. Cassius does. He asks all I guess how old they are.
That's true.
Yeah. And after that, he says, "Why has he such great hair?" So that is awesome. I mean, especially
I get it from my mama. I get it from my mama. So, all right. Questions then.
Can we get the first question up, Emma?
All right.
What's your name?
Character name, Duruk.
Second question. How do I make money? How am I part of the community?
My character is a scholar, and the character concept is based around the idea that the character has a big book, and in that big book he chronicles monsters and creatures that are encountered by players, and his job is to chronicle them in this big book and be a resource for other players, potentially in fun roleplay situations.
Third question. Nice. You're doing well so far. Who was my family? How was my relationship with them? Where do I actually come from? What's the culture?
Good question. The character culture is not defined yet because I haven't decided in what group from in-game groups this character will kind of associate with. So I haven't decided that yet, and that will be kind of developed over time as more opportunities through roleplay present themselves.
That's actually kind of interesting because you don't necessarily have to fill out the questions anyway, but if there's a question particularly that you don't feel like you can answer, well, you don't have to. So it can also develop.
I figure I'm just going to let this kind of develop over time. What is my relationship with my family? My father gave me the book, so when I enter into the game for the first time, I will have some... the book is this huge book that I wear on my back like a shield. It's really huge. And like from the back of my neck all the way down below my butt. It's really big. That's not to say my butt is big. I mean the book is big, just so you're aware.
I wasn't saying anything.
Yeah, I thought I could hear you thinking.
Why? This is not what the conversation is about.
Anyway, so the book was created by my father, and thus it has some stuff in it entering into the game. But my character will enter into the world largely completely fresh, and he's kind of experiencing things as he goes. And this also goes into where do I come from. I can kind of define that as I develop the character.
I like that. You have an object that has inherent roleplay, not only because it's important to you as a character, but also it has a bunch of play for people to engage in. They can maybe add something to your book, or maybe they can ask questions on plots that may be relevant.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm planning for the character, is hopefully kind of find ways to plug myself into potential roleplay.
Okay, cool. Next. What is an important event from your background? What sort of scarred you? What motivated you?
Yeah.
What's something that drives you?
The moment obviously didn't happen, so I'm kind of creating this, which is
well, in your background. It
in
doesn't
the
happen
background.
in game.
Yeah, totally. So then it would be the moment when my father passed the book to me, kind of as this heirloom of my house, and so. That moment, kind of coming, like the
Coming of age?
Yeah, coming of age.
Okay.
Like, it's kind of a tradition that the father passes it to the son, and I now have it, and it's my job to kind of go out and put things into the book.
Were you lying when you said you weren't prepared?
No, so part of the art process for me, and this is like part of the character process, is actually kind of answering some of these questions in the costume. So some of that is stuff that I've thought about.
Okay.
Is that different? Like there's a question from the audience, which is Tom started LARPing in North America. How is the character creation process different now that he is in Euro LARPing?
Yeah, that's actually
is that Euro LARPing?
Euro LARPing.
Like
it's
Euro
a
dance.
Yeah, totally. Euro song contest, all of it. Yeah.
Okay.
I would definitely say that the way that I think about characters and creating characters has changed after LARPing in Europe, because specifically in German LARP, where people interact with you on a roleplay level that I didn't experience in whether it be the United States or Canada. And this depth of roleplay means that preparing a character a bit more both open-ended, but also with some solid concepts and exactly kind of what these questions are doing. Kind of provides you the opportunity to adapt and also be prepared when you need to.
Okay, I have a loaded question for you.
Oh, goodness.
So, now that we've heard a little bit about differences in America and in Europe, and you've LARPed in both places, if you were given the choice, would you take a character CV, a point sheet, both, or neither to a LARP? How would you prepare?
I don't think I'll ever take a character sheet in the way that I created them for American or Canadian events.
That's stat-based, right?
That's stat-based. I don't think I would ever bring that to an event. Me personally, maybe some people, it helps them to visualize their characters' strengths and weaknesses, like a Dungeons and Dragons style thing. But for me personally, I think that it needs to be a bit more fluid than that. And for me, the CV concept is so much more powerful, and is, even if I were to create one, like some American games require that kind of stat sheet, I think I would still create a CV aside from that. Just because I think it's, for me personally, it's a part that really helps me to understand where my character is at, the motivations he has, and where he needs to be going in order for me to get that fulfillment. Okay.
Let's move on to the next question.
Yeah, some people might also ask why is that character CV different from writing yourself a backstory? And I think the answer to that is that it really has those key points that are really
that's a really good point.
Centric, and it helps you not to forget something you actually would have.
Yeah, because I've created character backstories, which is like that 7-page write-up that you have that you kind of look back to. But the fact is that there are, unless you write like an entire novel about a character, it's kind of hard to attach to even some of the questions we've already got to and the ones that I heard you guys talking about previously. There are questions in there I would have never answered with a standard backstory.
Actually, it's funny. I've actually gotten into a moment when I did that, when I wrote my magnum opus on my character, which every LARPer has done. and then someone asks you, where are you from, or who are you, and then you start giving them a 2-hour monologue.
Yeah, because you've read it so many times, so you wrote it.
Yeah,
and
and then you just see people's eyes glaze over, and you're like, okay, that's not what I intended. I wanted to like enthrall you with my character story, but that did not work.
I've had moments like that where it's been, someone being like, where are you? And I'm from the, and you just go off on this tangent, and you realize the person really just only was interested in finding out like what kind of coin you had in your pocket so that they could barter with you. But you ended up telling them about your cousin's sister's, second pet's collar.
Yeah, and but that's I guess what Markus was saying there, that the CV reduces it to the core points that every character from the LARP will be interested in engaging in, and that may not be your second sister's pet's collar's brother. I got it wrong.
TV.
New question.
Camera, TV.
See, you can't do it.
Damn, I have Alzheimer's. Anyway, next question.
What positive trait do you embody?
What positive trait? This character, I want to do something different than I have in real life, or something that I struggle with in real life and would like to improve upon. So I'm kind of trying to use this character as a way to help me learn something in real life, and that is patience. So the character is like a scholarly character. He's not quick to become angry or to be motivated toward any kind of emotion one way or the other. He's very stoic. So I would say like the positive aspect would be patience and stoicism.
I see. Okay. Emma, can we have another one? I'm trying to make you feel uncomfortable. That's why I'm trying to make this really fast.
Are we in speed round here? Okay. I'll try to make this fast.
No, I'm just generally just trying to make you feel uncomfortable.
Okay. I have a certain issue or problems.
Yes, do you have issues or problems? Any negative traits?
Yes. The character has very bad penmanship, and part of the character's thing is like actually writing in this book. So one of the problems he has is like he's one of the only people who can really read well all the stuff that he writes, and on top of that, he constantly doubts his own observations. So some of the things he writes are like from a sense of like doubt or a sense of being unsure of himself, and this kind of ends up in the writing of the book.
Sort of like an unreliable narrator.
Kind of, yeah.
Question, on top of this, how will you ensure that people can interact with your book? Or is it something that only you can interact with?
No, I plan to make it interactable, like for anyone, so people can come to my tent. I am currently planning a tent with my partner in game, and the idea would be that people can come in, and if I'm there, they can open the book and kind of go through it. And the writing will be a kind of chicken scratch, but not so much
semi-legible.
Yeah, it's semi-legible.
Oh, okay.
Basically, this is also because if I were to write anything to you right now, it would be semi-legible.
No, same. I don't even know how to write, actually.
I've seen this.
Yeah.
Next question. Okay.
So what's your character's motto? And I want to ask you this in a different way. For instance, Markus had a motto. My character's motto back at Sturmwacht, for instance, was, I will carry a load until my spirit breaks. So my character would try to put everyone's troubles on his back until he would at some point emotionally and physically break.
Yeah.
What would be your character motto? Maybe a film quote, something like that?
I don't have anything prepared yet, but I think it'll be something along the lines of like, through knowledge we survive, or something. The idea that like his culture or his people made these books in order to hunt monsters or creatures, or to survive monsters or creatures. Like the knowledge is the aspect that is required for survival. So maybe something along the lines of like knowledge is a key to survival, or something along those lines. I would have to think about it a bit more, but I think it would be in that direction.
All right, maybe that was a tricky question.
That's a tough one because it actually matters quite a bit.
Yeah,
I think so.
Okay, but that sort of underlines the playstyle that you've suggested.
Yeah.
So I'll accept that answer.
Okay. Thanks, boss. All right, next question.
I'm LARPing a very uncomfortable moderator.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Are we having a LARP?
Are we gonna LARP?
I see what you're doing there.
So everyone who knows you knows this specific fact about you. What is that fact that they can bring to other players that surround your group who want to play with your group?
I got a big book.
Okay.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's the long and short of it. Like, this character will walk with this book everywhere, and this book will be so much of the character's identity because it kind of encapsulates his whole purpose. So I think anyone who knows this character will know, like, oh, it's the guy with the big book. So that's kind of the direction I'm going with.
If I were to, because we sometimes bounce ideas off of each other in the office, like for instance, Tom gives me some hints on how to do certain art things, on my costuming and so on. We talk to each other. We have like constructive criticism. I would ask you at this point, a lot of your character traits currently reflect on the book. Yeah. Maybe this question could be answered with something else like, he keeps a special pet, like a pet rat in his pocket, or something else. That's maybe not a great example.
That's actually something I should probably think about as well, in the way that I look at the character not being so one-dimensional, like book is life, but also look at it as like, what are the things that if someone knew me, because like if you don't know me, you still might know like, hey, it's the guy with the book, I don't know. But the people who know me may know, I don't know, maybe something like...
or he keeps the key for the book around his neck or something.
Yeah, totally. And the people who really know me would know this. Yeah, that's probably a much more apropos answer. And something that I think will develop as I kind of play this character.
All right, okay. Yeah. Markus, you got a question? Or maybe some input?
Don't have a question. I was wondering about that key thing. Yeah. Like, why would you have a key around your neck?
They doesn't actually.
Yeah, all right. Next question.
No one in my group or my circle knows this about me. What would be one of your little secrets?
The character secret that I've decided to play, and I kind of thought about this during the character creation part, is like this character has never actually had to. He chronicles monsters, but he never fights them. So like he can write all day about all these creatures, but he's the scholar who never left the library, you could say. So like this character entering into the world of Mythodea and kind of being around these monsters is his first kind of experience around things that can actually kill him, and he's putting on this like this big face, like, I can handle this, but really he's just like constantly shitting his pants.
Maybe when you take an entry from a hero who's battled a monster, maybe similar to Markus, you grudgingly write it down because you wished you were a monster hunter.
Yeah, or I like oh yeah, I know how hard they hit. Like, no, he doesn't. He doesn't know any of this. Like it's all bravado. And
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like the character's actually a bit of a coward in some ways.
It's tricky roleplay actually to show the player that what you're doing is actually just bravado, and some players may think, okay, guy's got a man bun, he probably does battle monsters.
Man bun equals monster battling. I know
you'd have to layer it on extra thick. Like,
you have to.
I battled some monsters too,
Exactly. Yeah, I was gonna make a 40-year-old virgin joke, like a sandbagged, No one's ever seen this. Somebody's gonna know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about, and I also don't want to know.
That's probably a good idea.
Steve Carell, good movie, Netflix. Just saying.
Is it on Netflix?
Are we allowed to say Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay, doesn't matter.
Next question.
I'm baffled.
So, again, as with Markus, let's not play unfair. If you had a deepest, darkest secret, can you tease it? Don't bat it out the park because you don't want to ruin your game.
His relationship with his family is not as simple as it might seem, and I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, one thing that I would like to repeat here that we've had before. If you have a deepest, darkest secret and you accidentally tell it at a campfire, or you drop a letter, or however else people figure it out,
totally,
not a problem. Find a new one. Find a new dark secret for the next time, or maybe I meet a new person, or Tom meets a new person and he replays the deepest, darkest secret. Just because you drop your deepest, darkest secret doesn't mean that you won't find a new one.
Yeah, totally. And I definitely have a few different ideas I'd like to play with, but I have one that is heavily related around my family and my relationship with my family, and why a person who maybe has had this book for a while all of a sudden isn't around his family and is now adventuring out, whereas before maybe all of his family wasn't adventurers but just chroniclers.
All right, I'm intrigued now.
And I think we always need to not forget that all we are doing here, like the character sheet and the way we build the characters and the way we design plot in the future, is designed to generate drama and play.
Yeah.
So it's always, so if you design your character and you go like, my character is somebody who actually never talks and he always sits in a corner, that's not good play.
Yeah, this character specifically is a great example of that. If I were to sit in my tent and like draw pictures the whole day, it would not actually be much of an opportunity for people to interact with my character and for my character to then interact with others, creating that play. It's like you can't find LARP sitting in your tent.
What you two are describing here is a design principle that we've incorporated into our game. It's play the special day. So you're the assassin who never talks. Seeing as in actual fact you play your LARP character 4 days a year, or maybe 10, not 365 days a year. This is the day he talks, and he's going to be a little bit grudging about it. It's going to be weird, but this is going to generate roleplay. Or your character doesn't love, so he definitely goes to the Festival of Roses, and he's really uncomfortable about finding a love or being approached. You have a lot of these things.
It's that principle, play the special day.
Play the special day in combination with play to struggle. If you see a situation where you think your character, who isn't yourself, will be uncomfortable, be brave, throw yourself in the situation. You'll be amazed at how much roleplay will just immediately start hammering down on you, and you'll be the star of your little show.
Sounds like fun.
And it's also this there is where the other principle comes in. It's the play to lift. Remember, you play this character for the other people. You know, it's like you play to lift the other people, and they will do the same to you. And this is where the actual experience comes from. You know.
It's not from this self-centered viewpoint of like I'm gonna do everything to make my character win. Yeah. I'm going to instead make it so that other people have that moment of feeling like they won. Yeah. But it comes from external
whatever
sources.
Winning is in the personal motivation of that character, you know. Yeah. And also it's about designing the character in a way that it generates play, you know.
Yeah,
so
totally.
That it is something you can play with, and that people understand, and then they can go for and understand what that is, or at least be intrigued by it. You know, and then kind of approach you and
totally
start situations.
And an interesting thing that happens, because you may think, okay, so if I'm lifting Tom and Markus all the time, you know, well, then I don't get to be the hero. That's actually not the case. Tom and Markus will notice this, and they'll start lifting you. So if you lift, you will be lifted. And that's kind of great. So they get an amazing scene, you get an amazing scene. So play together, not against each other.
I have that. I've had that exact experience with friends at North American and Canadian LARPs, where you kind of constantly are pushing a friend to the forefront of like having these epic moments. But if you're constantly thinking about that, then you don't even think about the fact that they're probably also doing it to you. So when these special moments then happen for your character, they're coming out of nowhere, and the sense of surprise or excitement is then real because you didn't kind of cater yourself into this space. It's happening naturally because people around you are giving you that opportunity.
Yeah, and imagine the more people on the event are doing it, you know, the more awesome scenes there will be.
The ecosystem kind of self-propagates.
It's a self-propelling, self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Yeah, okay.
What is your greatest fear?
I think the easy one would be the destruction of that book, which is pretty straightforward. But I think largely it would also be kind of having the realization that I'm incapable of actually doing that job because of the fear, because of like that fear aspect of like actually never being out in the world and like having to survive long enough to actually do this job. So
similar to having a dark secret, having a great fear can mean also overcoming it. So you have roleplay to overcome it.
Yeah.
And then you think, damn, I've lost my greatest fear. What am I going to do now? Well, get scared of something new.
Yeah.
Find a scary place.
Find a new boogeyman.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to be afraid
Stop
of.
looking at me. What's this all about?
Yeah.
All right. Since Tom is not behind the camera anymore and he's not gruesomely checking the time schedule here, we kind of went over it, but Mareike in the chat did it for us. Thank you, Mareike.
Awesome.
We have to go on a break. So we are doing this now. See you back in 5 minutes. Hello and welcome again. Here we are back after the break with Mythodea Insider. Shortly forgot the show name. Mythodea Insider on SKALD TV. That must be the age. And we go right back into it with Lester and Tom, the guy you usually don't see here because he's on the other end of the camera. And me, Markus. Hello. Let's continue this. We weren't finished with your character sheet, I think.
Nope, I think we still have a few more questions.
Character CV.
Yeah, character CV, yeah.
Okay. Can we go to the next question of the CV, please?
My personal goal is... cool. So my personal goal for this character is that I would like to chronicle as many creatures and monsters as possible. So I would like to interact with as many different player groups as possible to collect their legends and the stories of kind of the things that they fear, what goes bump in the night, that kind of thing.
Maybe we can discuss this a little bit more because again, this relates heavily to the book, which I think is a very good core point to your character. But maybe you have another story. I mean, theoretically, you're going to be in a group, and that group perhaps has some sort of secret on you that you wish to get out of them, or one of the shamans in your group has a certain spell over you. Maybe you want to finally be rid of it.
Yeah, and for those at home, we are actually workshopping this right here in front of you. This character is one that I'm still working on. So if you're wondering, are we doing this off of some memory? No, actually, I'm working on it right now. So
we're literally making it up.
We're just brainstorming.
I'm literally doing that. But that's kind of, but that's the fun of this. I don't know. I think that this is something that the character could definitely do. I think it would be cool to have the personal goal also of like overcoming the character's greatest fear, for instance, or maybe I also thought of the idea of like developing the character developing a strong relationship with a specific kind of other character group. So I would love to find a group in the game that like to hunt monsters and create some kind of relationship with these people to create some kind of symbiotic kind of agreement.
Actually, maybe your personal goal could be defeat your own first monster, because that's something that you've
that
never
would
done.
be really cool. That's actually an awesome idea.
Like,
that's
like,
a super cool idea. So like go through and like Fae that I have no training, and like actually go through this process of learning to defeat my first monster.
Yeah.
That's an awesome idea.
That could have
I like
that
that.
could have like additional role plays.
I like that.
I mean, similar to Samuel Tarly, who in Game
Yeah.
of Thrones kills like one of the most
That's so
horrific
true.
monsters in the
and
story.
he was totally very much a bookie like this character as well.
Yeah.
That's an awesome analogy and a great. Oh, that's actually a super cool.
We'll get to characters from films and video games and books in a minute.
Because I actually do know the answer to that one.
Fair enough. Can we continue? So, again, we come to one of the questions I asked Markus. What would you give your life for? And an additional question, how do you see, I mean, it's not so easy, you're still conceptualizing the character, but what would be your perfect death scene? What would you give your life for?
I think it would be awesome. To like have the character die with that book completed, and like what would I give my life for is like somehow preserving that knowledge, but maybe not like through the book itself, but maybe finding some other means where like this knowledge progresses and this character ends with the progression of this knowledge, not just as a book.
Actually, in a weird way, I see, this is my view on the character, it's not yours, it's all subjective,
totally.
But in a way, maybe we can have a positive end, because we tend to talk a lot about drama and really sad things.
I want him to die of old age.
Maybe, exactly,
yes, that's
maybe.
what I was just suggesting. It's like
exactly.
his goal would be to live as long as possible.
That's super
to
true.
basically collect as much
I've got
knowledge
Bilbo in
as
my
they
mind
can.
right now. I'm thinking of Bilbo.
Yeah, so there and back again and actually get back again.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I guess this also kind of brings up the whole thing of conceptualizing the OT and the IT, in time and out of time, as kind of two separate elements. What I would like to do from the character as me, the player, but also like what would the character's true intention be?
You've been properly Euro-LARPed.
I've been
In
properly
time and-
Euro-LARPed.
In time and out of time.
OT and
It's
IT,
like in-game and out-game experience. That would
Yeah,
be.
totally. And
It's like-
these are concepts that I only really started to really grab onto in a deeper way after I had moved to Europe. So yeah, I think understanding these two motivations separately, I think it would be so cool that the character actually, he wants to make it there and back again, and the back again part is actually the hard part.
I'm getting way too invested right now. I'm
Into my
starting to want to
character?
play. I want to play with your character now.
I'm actually getting super excited. Maybe this is what I needed to like encourage me to work on this costume more.
That and a healthy portion of bullying, perhaps.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna get so many messages about this later. So anyway, next question.
So, if you had a nemesis, how would you fight him? And would you fight him to the end? Would you besmirch him? What would be your anti-barbarian scholar character? Who would be your counterpart?
I thought about the idea of like having a serious problem with like an elf scholar who's like super similar to me in every way except for that he's clean cut, fancy dressed, and my character's kind of grimy. And like having this like not like in a fighting kind of nemesis, but like in an intellectual nemesis. And then like how would I defeat them or be defeated by them? I don't really know. I'm hoping to find, and I imagine I will find tons of this type of character. And I'm looking forward.
Well, actually, in a way, it doesn't have to be you defeating that character. It can just be you going head to head with that character.
Yeah, I actually love the idea of never having an end goal here, but just kind of having this continual player that I can. I also, this kind of speaks to this whole like play to lift thing. I love the idea of communicating with someone like a nemesis out of game and say like, hey, I have this idea for this really intense scene. Would you be interested in playing something like this out? And then having this kind of ability to role play these intense moments so that I can lift their character and then in turn the people around them and around me.
I see you sort of having a very intense fight sitting in the elf camp, for instance, of the Epic Empire's lights all around you, and there's an elf in front of you. You've both got your big book up. No, I believe this is the way how to defeat a manticore. You are completely wrong, sir.
It's exactly what I have in mind.
Yeah, you're shouting at each other.
Absolutely. And everyone's
Everyone's
just being
standing
like,
around like, this is very interesting.
Yeah, totally. I think that would be an awesome experience to have, and to have a nemesis that could kind of play that out.
And then you compare the books of the elf with this
super
really
perfect, yeah.
album,
That's
and
so
there's
true.
like
and mine's just scribbled as hell. Yeah, and
and-
tons of finger paint drawings.
And I can just imagine like some guy coming from the side. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I would like to have that tattooed on my back.
Yeah, that would be super cool actually. If like, and that's the other part. I love creating art, and doing it in character would be really fun as well. So this interaction with like having an elf who's like super proper, perfectly hand drawn, and mine are like charcoal drawings, like really fast, like impatient charcoal drawings. I think would be super cool.
All right, well this character is starting to look like a real character. Emma, next question, please. So, well, who's most important to you? What's the character that you would give your life for? Who do you play to lift mainly? Like, who's your go-to play to lift? With Markus, it was Prince Liam. Whenever he couldn't get a hold of Prince Liam, tell him, "Thank God you're safe," or "Are you okay?" He would go up to a player and say, "I remember I gave my beauty once. I was a beautiful man. I gave my beauty to save Prince Liam. It was horrible. That fire, that one day. If I could ever find my nemesis." Who is that person for you, and why?
I don't know yet. I mean, this is something that I have to still figure out. Is like, what is the kind of player that I want to interact with to get this kind of interaction? Because I'm coming in with this character into basically like, this is my first fresh character coming into Mythodea as a player, and not as just like a quick at night when I'm not filming kind of thing. So it's, to me, I guess this is going to be something that I discover. And maybe over time I can kind of attach to a single person or a group that allows this to take place. But right now, I don't think I'm able to say.
Okay. Maybe I can change this question a little bit in a way. So again, unfair, we're springing this upon you.
Yeah.
But again, it's similar to your perfect death. What would be the kind of perfect play you would like? So we have this elf scholar.
Yeah.
Who's kind of your supporting character? A little brother?
I would love to
sister?
find like a big, like stupid barbarian who just wants to kill shit. And I kind of find a relationship in which like, you go kill shit, I'm gonna write it down. And like, I'm gonna document all of the stuff you killed because I'm too afraid to actually do it. And instead,
I have
like,
an idea. The barbarian actually, he's great at killing, but he's afraid. And you're like his motivator.
Yeah, I could be like I play to lift a character that is actually like, it looks big and scary, but he's actually really fearful.
Yeah.
And then I can like bolster this character.
Like sort of like of Mice and Men. I don't know.
Yeah, no, very much so. Very much so. I like that idea a lot. That's really cool. Now I have to find that guy.
Yeah,
or girl.
I mean, there's so many brawny, burly people in LARP. I'm sure you'll find
I'll
someone.
find somebody.
The writing got really small down there.
What type of people would you like to play? Quiet RP?
Loud RP.
RP?
Romantic RP.
I
thrilling adventure RP. Tragedy.
What's the type of play you would most want to engage in?
To be honest, although the character is super like stoic, I would love to play with like a group of really like ambitious, boisterous, loud, excitable people. I like to be around a lot of people with energy, and I think it'd be super fun to play this character around them and kind of work as a contrast to that. Like a set of brakes on a steam train out of control. And I think that would be kind of fun to be around really high energy people.
Yeah, I can see you in the middle of a party, wine going everywhere. Please be quiet, I'm trying to draw.
Yeah, totally. And I would totally play that while also enjoying the fact that there was wine flying all over the place.
All right, cool. Putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. That's good, yeah. So, what sort of experiences would you like to have? So we talked about the style of play. What are some of the scenes, for instance, you would like to have? Some go-to things you would like to provoke to happen to you.
I hadn't thought about it before we started doing this workshop thing that we're doing right now, but I love this idea that you came up with of having to defeat that first monster. Like, what's the experience for this character? Like, I would love to have that moment of like first that first moment of achieving something that he always thought would be totally impossible. And although it is something that every other warrior character just does, like I just stab the orc, it's dead. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna stab the orc, like, and I'm like freaking out.
Don't tell that the orcs. They might not like it. You know, it's like
Stefan Berger's gonna kill me now.
like literally.
Literally. Yeah. So, but I think it'd be super fun to play that character.
But that goes down that bucket list idea, isn't it? Like, that the character should have like a bucket list.
That's actually funny that you mentioned the bucket list. That may be something we'll talk about another time, but we're going to have a bucket list on our coming website of things that you should do with your character before you kill your character.
I love this idea.
Yes.
Like when you guys were talking about this internally, and then I listened to the stream you did in German about this, I thought about my character that I play at Beol in Canada, and I realized, like, holy shit, I gotta kill my character. Like, I've done all these things, I'm so ready to kill this character now.
Your bucket list is done, you kind of explored the character. And now it's time to go and try something new.
Yeah, I'm super excited now to start to explore the direction of killing a character, and I've never done this before, so I'm really looking forward to this discussion in English.
You don't necessarily have to kill your character, of course. You can find,
it's just,
as we said in the questions, you can find new fears, new ambitions, new objectives, but try to keep it fresh, because if you're playing for 10 years the same thing, it may get boring.
I'm going on like 8 years with that character, so it's like it's time, I think. So,
but anyway, I think if you do kill your character, you should talk to your friends. You should talk to some of your favorite nemesis and make it a worthwhile death.
Totally. Yeah, not just die on the battlefield randomly, but like do something really big.
It would be awesome if we would have a random bucket list generator as well, where you can
I could program that.
Bucket list you randomly generate.
We create a huge list of them, and then you like generate, and it just throws you.
It's always that thing that we as humans, we always tend to do the things we feel comfortable with. And also it's basically, I don't know if you guys had this experience. You told me about this. You go to.
Don't tell them about that.
You go to a sneak preview, like in the movies, and there's usually a movie you would have never went for.
I totally had this experience as well,
and it's always awesome. For some reason.
I just watched a Bollywood film, and I was like, I would never go to the cinema to watch a Bollywood film. Absolutely loved my experience.
And basically, that is something like this. So basically, do shit. Sorry. Do stuff that you usually wouldn't do. Because it will have this fresh experiences for you. That really feels new and
absolutely
and broadens your horizon and also the experience you will have at the event.
Totally.
A lot of the things we're writing, the game helps where we believe you'll enjoy the event more. Usually we'll put you in situations that are disadvantageous for your character. So it will be new because I know there are a lot of people who like to play the struggle, but I would say it's a minority, and we want to incentivize that sort of play. We want to reward you with plots and also great role play. So in future, if you come to a live adventure event, try to put yourself in danger sometimes, and it might actually get kind of interesting.
As the person who's generally filming the events, I love watching these moments take place because they always result in the best footage. Is when these players actually are going through these struggle moments. Anyway, I think we still have a bunch of questions to go through.
Yeah, probably. Emma?
You said there's 20, so...
we're near the end. I know them.
Okay.
So if everything were to be perfect, and now we come to one of these absolutes again, like death, what would be your favorite moment, like the best moment? Like a lot of people, they play video games and they think, I want to be on top of the mountain, dueling the dragon. Okay, maybe a bit hard to represent in LARP, but we all have that fantasy in our heads. And if you could recreate the fantasy, your prime fantasy, what could that be?
I thought about this a bunch actually as I started the character, and I would love to have that moment that you see in a lot of films, which is like everybody is like, what are we going to do? How do we defeat this monster? How do we we have to solve this problem of how to defeat this thing. And then somehow through chronicling all of these different monsters and experiences, somehow in my book happens to be all of the pieces of this puzzle that allow this thing to be defeated. And it's just because I spent this time with this big book that like other people went through and like, no, you wrote all this down. But me as a player, I'm like the character is like, I don't get it, I don't see it. But somebody else then sees it and goes and puts the pieces of these pages together to create some kind of solution. And I would love to see that as like the big outcome of this character is.
I like that
Yeah.
because your dream in a way is to support another character. That's very selfless. It's not, you know.
I don't think I'm thinking of it that way as much as like my book did a thing. Like I think it's like that's the way that I think.
All the work
was worth it.
No, I mean
yeah,
sure, but I mean it's as much
It's not so
it's
much
as much
selfish
the
as
player's
just like, oh.
character. It's as much the player's the player engaging you's moment as it is yours. You're
Yeah.
sharing this moment. You're not saying, all right, I want to be on this mountain alone. I want to
Totally.
have someone up on that mountain next to me.
Yeah, and I think the other part of this was when we introduced the idea of playmakers.
Yeah.
I thought it would be so cool to eventually develop this character into a character because I'm limited on the amount of time I'm able to play because I have work to do at events. So I loved the idea of this character over a couple of years developing into a resource for players.
Yeah.
So they can come to this creepy dude in a tent who's got this big ass book and be like, I need to find this information. And the working as a playmaker would mean that I'm privy to information that the plot needs to develop. So I have potentially this information and can kind of create those connections. And I think this, as a playmaker, this question kind of works well.
If you guys wonder about the fancy words we're using here, the playmaker, we talked about it in episode 1 of the English Mythodea Insider. It's a kind of hybrid thing between a well-informed player and a game master. There's different versions of it. If you want to have more information about it, go to our YouTube channel, SKALD on YouTube, and there you will find a playlist called Mythodea Insider EN for English, and there you will have episode 1 of our Mythodea Insider in English. Last time it was episode 1 was with Lester and me.
Just to come back to that quickly, we try to have our different definitions explain themselves. So what does a playmaker do? He makes play for other players.
Yeah.
So you get you get a lot of information about the plot, but of course you're not solving the plot. Tom wouldn't be solving the plot if he had relevant plot in his book that we gave him. He would then try to rope in players to help him solve the plot with him. Interesting concept. It's a bit different than being a player, but it can also be very rewarding and very deep role play.
I love the idea, and specifically for this character, it kind of feels like it would fit later down after this character builds up a bit of like respect and notoriety as a person who's doing this thing, so that people know and can trust that it's legitimate.
Okay, Emma, do we have another question? So, what sort of situation wouldn't you want to be in? So, this is an interesting question because, so, for instance, if I don't like drinking, I wouldn't go to a bar. If I don't like zealous play, which is very extreme, I wouldn't go to a paladin camp. What would you not want to experience? OT, but also more OT than IT. So we talked about putting you in a situation that your character doesn't like. That's fun.
Here, OT means out of game, and IT means in game. Yeah.
So, what situation would you like to? What sort of conflict situation would you actually like to put yourself into out of game so that you can struggle a little bit more? But what situations wouldn't you want to experience out of game?
Yeah. I think from an in-time standpoint, the character wouldn't like to be in like a rowdy group of, actually weirdly enough, barbarians, despite the fact he's a barbarian. Like, he doesn't want to be around that. But me as a person, I enjoy those things. So the thing that actually, to me, like this is kind of like the juxtaposition of this character. I really enjoy a good party. What I really don't want to do is...
tell.
Like the thing I really don't want to do is actually sit where there's no one and like do what this character probably would love to do most, which is to sit and draw and write. And like, these are actually things that, you know, I don't actually want to waste my time at a LARP being alone, but my character would. So the thing I don't want to experience out of time is the thing my character would want to experience, and vice versa. So it's the duality of the concept, and like part of why I think it'll be fun to play it, because I'm constantly putting the character into situations they dislike and role playing he doesn't like them, while also enjoying the living shit out of them.
Again, so we have about 20 questions here. This one's a little bit easier. Like, what do I really not like? That's kind of easy.
Yeah.
But if you write it down and then you see the signs, okay, these guys are a little bit. They look like robbers. They look like they're going to take my money. But I really don't want to be in that situation. It's just too loud for me out of game in real life. I just don't like it. Or I don't like politics. I can see they're doing politics over there. So I'm just not going to go there. But writing that down can help you out.
That's actually very true, because I thought about this as a character, but until I have to answer this question, I don't realize the duality of the concept of the character I'm playing entirely, which also kind of encourages me that this character is going to be super fun for me to play. Like, I'm going to be a constant stick in the mud.
We'll see that.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm going to be around the partying and all the fun, but I'm going to constantly be like, you know, and angry about it.
Won't. I will make sure of that.
No!
No partying, man.
I have work to do.
You have to write in your book. You know? Like, this needs to be finished. Never mind.
Yeah. So we have some metagame bullying here now.
So, yeah, the boss says go to work, stop partying, and I'm like, I am working.
Okay, the next OT question is, let's say you're bored. You're at an event. It's raining. You're out of energy. You don't have any connection to a plot right now.
Yeah.
Everyone's being everyone's drunk and you're sober, or everybody is cooking and you've done your cooking duty. Whatever. You're bored. What's your go-to thing to just do to keep yourself occupied? Would you write in your book? I guess you would do that, but I don't know. Would you start a fight just for no reason, just to get some conflict game?
I think I would love to go explore different groups and ask them about, like, what is their boogeyman. Like, ask different cultures and groups in the game about the thing that they are afraid of. Like, that thing that goes bump in the night for each of these groups. And I feel like each group will have their own stories of, like, the tales they tell their children.
Well, that might be a good explanation for you going from party to party. At Conquest, although you don't like them, it's for the sake of science.
It's for the sake of the book. I have to go drink at this party, and and I can't be rude.
I'm baffled.
You always have to find an angle.
Yeah, just find an angle. It'll take another shot of that rum, and then I can really get into this story. I'll tell you what.
I guess what Tom's trying to say over here is. If you have this question and you write down a few go-to things, you have less of a chance to be bored. So if it's raining, people are drunk, you don't want to get involved with that. Yeah. I got this list of 5 things I can always do, and I will always generate play. I go figure out who's the boogeyman. I go make a painting of a tree, or I
go
check
talk
a bunch
to like
of friends.
other artists. I know like Mythodea has a great thing where there's a ton of characters that are also artists in game, and it would be super cool to go and learn like how to draw better from a person who does that in game.
There will definitely be places like that in the future where you can
in
definitely
the chat
find that
here
type
they're
of play.
saying
awesome.
Work for other players for copper. You could write things
It's
for
true.
other players, like
They will never be able to read it, but I'll write it.
Yeah.
There will be symbols on that page.
Okay, another devil's advocate question coming from the question based off of that question.
Yeah, sure.
Thomas, what do you play for? Do you play for copper generally? Is money a thing for you? Is that important to you?
I think knowledge. I think because the character, like, I don't think I would
not
have
the
much...
character. I mean, generally for you. Like,
for me personally,
is money power? Do you play to get copper out of game, or is it artifacts that you're after? What are you after when you go into game? What do you want to get?
For me, it's like at least the reason why for me I get super excited about.
I understood the question.
I get really excited about the idea of facilitating in epic moments. Like, it's something that specifically at events that I had done it back in US and Canada was Beol. I loved like basically doing everything to get enough knowledge to then be able to put my friends into these wild and crazy situations in which they probably were going to hate me for it, but it was going to be super fun in the end. That's kind of my biggest motivation.
I always compare that a little bit LARPing to jamming, you know?
Yeah,
if you play with friends, you know, and they are really good musicians, then probably you have like, you play for an hour, you have like
20 minutes of like decent jam, and the rest of the time it's kind of trying to find where you're going.
If they're really bad, you have 20 seconds, but you still have
the greatest 20 seconds ever.
And that's what you play for.
Totally, you know? I totally play for the dissonance leading up to that note kind of coalescing.
Yeah, this one moment where you go like, everything
lines
aligns,
up,
you know?
Totally, and that's absolutely for me, my character. I'm not really big on like the economy play, the political play. Not big on the combat for this character at least, but the idea of like my economy is in the knowledge that then can be the ticket to like having fun with my friends. That's kind of my thing.
So we kind of have a playmaker over here. Man is sufficiently brainwashed by Europe, or Euro-washed.
Euro-washed.
It's a thing.
Not to say that there aren't American and European LARPs that are doing these kinds of concepts. It's
fair. I'm only kidding. But what I want to say is that's your subjective opinion. In actual fact, there are 105 opinions, to be exact, on LARP.
Only 105.
And maybe next time you do a LARP portrait, you can tickle out some more opinions that go in different directions. I'd be interested.
Yeah. I think we're getting a signal for break.
Uh-oh.
Are we?
Yeah.
How many more questions do we have? I think we're near the end, right?
Let's just like bounce through them real quick there.
Yeah, 2 more.
Shall we finish those?
Let's finish those, then we'll go to break.
Yeah.
Cool.
One short thing. One question here is: will this be up on the website? So basically, this thing we are discussing about is will be all included in our new design document. Which will be released shortly. We're like in the final stages of putting that together.
The questions in particular will be on the website.
Yeah.
And
we
the
can put
questions
those
in
on the
particular. So the design document as well as the questions will be on the website, mythodea.de, which we will also release in short time. It's our new website. And so everything will be there and you will be able to find it. But if you want to have it and you don't find it on the website, you can also send us an email to tv@skald.com, which will work too. Eva will forward it to Lester or the regie team, the directors team, and they will provide you with the needed information.
Cool.
So we finished the last sentence.
Questions.
Let's do this.
Questions.
All right, Tom. Your character, you've definitely.
Go back. We must.
It's okay.
There you go.
Yeah. You've definitely put some thought into it, into conceptualizing it. Are there any books or characters, video games, movie influences that sort of went into your character creation?
You know, I hadn't thought about it this way until you had mentioned it, but like Sam Tully from Game of Thrones totally is kind of a character that I now really identify with this concept. I did not before we sat down today, but this is a huge part of the character idea, actually. The character that I had started with as kind of the end game, what I want this character to eventually get to, is Tia Dalma, who is the Calypso from the second Pirates of the Caribbean movie, who she's like in this creepy shack. And she like knows all these deep secrets and has all of these artifacts and like a book full of knowledge. And that was kind of the idea of where I wanted this character to end.
Are you also a magician then? Or
no. Like her character, I didn't really want to go with the direction of like her being able to do magic. I mean, her character does do magic, but I love the idea like she's this super creepy, like super knowledgeable.
So that will be your end game.
Yeah, that's my end game. Like where I want to end up is at this character who like people come to with a certain sense of fear because they don't know what this creepy dude's gonna like.
Dude, kind of like the druid from Vikings. That guy's creepy as hell.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, that kind of that idea. Actually, it'd be cool to.
I like the Samuel Tully concept more.
I really like that too. But maybe Samuel Tully, Samuel Tully maybe transitions into this Tia Dalma character over time.
Vulnerability in the beginning.
Yeah,
is like something that's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, but also the bravado of acting like you're not actually, because like Sam Tully has this thing where he's like, I'm a coward and I know it.
Yeah.
This character Dirk is going to be more of like, I'm not a coward. You're a coward. Like clearly this guy's a coward. But you know, the character will hopefully develop over the time until I get to this idea of Tiadama, a Calypso, who is kind of powerful in her own way and has learned all these, deep lore elements.
Sweet. Next. So this is actually not.
Wow.
This is not part of the question, Nez. I added that in the break. Will you actually finish this character next year?
Wow.
Or will you continue to drag it out?
Wow.
This is bullying.
This
everybody
bullying
talks about.
thing.
Yeah.
Wow. It's funny. I've had very little time lately to dive into this character, but this chat and kind of filling out these questions here in the chat has made me actually get super excited about jumping back into the costume creation for this, because I would love to kind of come into 2021 maybe with the character kind of at a point where I can play it.
There's this Llewellyn character in the chat who says which movie influences me? Probably Willow. So who are you? Why are you actually me in the chat?
That's so true. Willow is so good, by the way.
Yeah.
So good.
It's like Matt Mardigan is basically a prototype of almost any character I played in every pen and paper session.
Dude,
ever.
so good. So good.
Yeah.
I always saw you as a sort of murder hobo in Dungeons and Dragons.
Murder hobo. Markus the murder hobo. I like this character idea too.
Maybe we should go to break now?
Yeah.
I think so. I look forward to maybe sitting down with you in your upcoming show discussing costume and character creation. And maybe talking about the costume stuff that I'd like to do and breaking down maybe over time the character as I develop it.
Wait a minute. Is this the dawn of the Burgschneider verse where all the shows interconnect?
Yeah. The Bergverse.
The Bergverse.
The Bergverse.
The Bergieverse.
The Bergieverse. Oh.
Now that just sounds like good marketing.
Yeah.
Screw you, Disney. We got ideas too.
Don't say that on done.
You can't say that.
Oh, we can't say that?
That's dangerous.
They're coming for us now.
That's
okay.
dangerous. You don't mess with the mouse.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think we'll go to break, and then I'm going to move back behind the camera, and then you guys are going to continue.
Yeah, I will take apart Lester about his character.
Oh, no.
It's like some bullying gonna be going on here.
Here we
No,
go.
that's not fair, man. It's not how this works.
Bullying 2.0 coming up after the break. Stay with us.
Yeah. Hallo, da sind wir wieder mit SKALD TV und Mythodea. Sorry, English. Hello, here we are again with Mythodea Insider on SKALD TV. With me now is Lester and me, Markus. We will have a look at some of Lester's characters, and you guys, Lester will tell us the name of the character. And then you guys can later on type the name into the chat, because this will be the character we will be doing the character sheet about.
So what happened in the break was I got into trouble for making Tom feel uncomfortable. So Markus thought it would be funny to put in a character for which I hadn't written a character sheet yet. So now I'm feeling the whole backlash of what I just did, the repercussions, and I feel bad. Obviously.
All right, guys. So let's get into this. He's whining again. Let's start with the first character. So what's the name of this guy?
That's Angus.
Okay, that's Angus. Next one.
Still Angus.
All right.
Not this is my squire.
The squire. All right.
The Baron.
The Baron.
The Wood Elf.
The Wood Elf.
Still the Wood Elf.
Yeah.
Still the Wood Elf. The Atteron Knight.
Yeah.
The Skagen.
Yeah.
And Angus again.
That's it. So please help us out, guys. Which character of those should we do?
How much time do they have? Let them feel uncomfortable.
Please answer the question, please. The Woodelf, that's the first one.
Uh-oh. Well, is it gonna be that?
It's gonna be that. The Woodelf. It's they and the Skagen.
Oh, okay.
So the Woodelf and the Skagen, that's it.
So what's it gonna be, Markus?
The Woodelf and the Skagen. Because I sensed you being uncomfortable with it. So, and the clearly the people in the chat sense that as well. So, Lester, it's up to you. The Woodelf. Let's go into it.
All right, grill me, boss.
Yeah. The questions, Tom. So, what's the name of the Woodelf?
The name I came up with my LARP mentor Hussam Nimmer. His wood elf is called Kane, and mine is called Callum, the Black Dove, which sounds very feminine. The character is also very feminine. Funnily enough, a lot of elves started calling Kane full moon, half moon, and this character full moon, because he had long, beautiful, shining blonde hair, and the stones on his armor glowed in the dark. So I got two names.
Okay. So how does he make his living, and what's his position in society? How would you describe that?
It's difficult with elves. I think this elf I would not play in a tavern or in a war camp. I've only played this elf in elf camps because he's very scared of humans. Humans bring fire and smoke, so he doesn't make money, and he actually does not know what money is. He doesn't know what bartering or sale is. He knows what gifting is. He knows what is to give to someone, a thing like friendship or an object from his past. But he has no concept of money, so he makes no money. He takes from the forest what he needs, and the forest provides.
So he's a hippie.
Am I contractually obliged to say yes to that?
I don't know.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, hippie.
All
I
right.
play a hippie.
So what's the biggest virtue he stands for? Like, what's his virtuous side?
So Kana and Callum both believe that the elven culture is dying, similar to Lord of the Rings, where the elven culture is leaving the world. And they believe that they must educate the youngest culture, which is humanity, maybe by force, show them that the elven way is the better way, by force and dominance, to show humanity the error of their ways. So his biggest virtue probably is sustainability. Again, a very hippie thing, I guess, but he wants to save the oceans and the forest.
All right, good for him.
Okay.
The
Judgment there.
So what are his how do you call it? The peeves or the
like his weaknesses.
Yeah, like the biggest
Shortcomings.
Yeah, shortcomings.
So Callum was born as a lot of weaker characters are, as the third or fifth son of a nobleman, a forest keeper, a lord of the forest, and he was never paid attention to, similar to Jon Snow maybe, and he never saw himself as part of his family, so he didn't ever pay any homage to his family. He didn't respect his family. Instead, he wanted to become part of the war dancers, which is what I portray now, a young war dancer learning the craft of dancing war, which is a nomadic tribe in a way. His strongest weakness is that he thinks he's too young and too weak, and he always asks for help from his mentor. He's unsure of himself, and although some people say he's quite wise, he never thinks that, and whenever he comes to a conclusion, he needs the help of others to get there. He has strong opinions, but he often has an open ear to interesting opinions and views on the world, because he's so young. Although he has these strong opinions, he often second guesses himself. So he's not very formed. He's very weak in a way, very impressionable.
Yeah. We made a little bit fun about this hippie thing, but did you did you just when designing the character, did you play off the elven trope, sort of the nature child, or was it rather like a political kind of statement, trying to raise awareness about certain things?
So when I was born, my first words were, "I'm never going to play an elf." Maybe not true. Don't quote me on that. But what I did say was, I'm not going to do this because I hate it. It's too clean. It's too boring. But when Hussam approached me with this concept, which was, we are the outcasts of the elves. We're the dirtiest of the elves. People don't respect us as much because we have very strongly held views. We don't forgive the humans. We will teach them by force, perhaps. Although I am the counterpart to him, I second guess that. I sometimes ask, maybe there is still hope. Maybe we can still teach them in another way. Yes, we did play off of these tropes, but at the same time, these elves are different. They don't live long. They run headlong into cannon fire, dancing away from bullets. And you see in some of the concept pics that the armor is not very strong. If they get hit once with a bullet, they die, which is what happens at Epic Empires. You get hit with a bullet, you're dead. And we want to play the fleetingness, which is a sort of paradox with elves. Elves live unlimited long, but at the same time, we want to represent that the fleeting culture of the elves and how we believe elven culture is dying. That's why we're also so young. So in a way, yes, we do take up the elven stereotype, but we try to break it. We break it with total wilderness, total craziness with the hair and the heavy leather armors we wear, and also that we believe we are to die young, which is very different from elves.
So what is this guy's motto then? What would be his one thing?
All right, I'm not crying. I'm actually sweating. I didn't figure this one out. I don't have a cool movie motto, so now I feel the bullying. I respect that.
I found the weak spot.
Just gotta keep pounding. Don't give up. I guess his motto, in a way, would be my life for the life of our successors, because what he strongly believes in is that it is his mission to inform the world of their wrongdoing, and if he dies for doing so, then it will be a good death, and perhaps people will look at the forest and other sources of life in a different way, be less exploitative. Yeah, I guess that's it. My life for others, for the next generation.
So what does everybody who knows that guy will know about him?
That's a bit tricky. My elf popped up at an Epic Empires 4-con, which is sort of like a con before Epic Empires. Some camps do that there. I was very happy to be accepted to that. I had a great time. It was really beautiful. That's actually where I met Tom. I didn't have so much equipment at that point. No one knew me, and I played an elven culture that only two other people played at that time. which was my mentor, and another war dancer who played in a very different direction, which was interesting, very interesting actually. But no one actually knew anything about me at that point, and that's something I really regret. I wish I had put some more background of my character in the forum for people to engage. I think that would have helped me more. Not only was the con, of course, very beautiful, the gameplay I had with certain people was great, but I think if I had strewn some rumors and things that people would know about me in the forum, I probably would have had more engagement. One thing that people would know of me is that I ran away from my family. I gave up on them. I thought they were weak. They were they went the wrong way, and that I constantly second-guessed myself. I think that's something that a lot of people found out very quickly. I tried to play that very strongly.
All right. What would be something nobody would know? So what was his secret?
This character's secret is that he portrays someone similar to Tom's character, actually, who has a sort of fake bravado. He sees himself as a war dancer. Not only is he young, but he has not learned the ways of the war dancer. He is currently learning. He's very new to it. Of course, elves are very fast. They learn quickly, but he's actually scared. He's really scared. He's terrified. He's constantly scared. But he tries to not push that to the forefront. When asked about the culture of the elves and how he thinks they are leaving this world, how they are becoming less, he says, yes, but we must be strong. But he doesn't see himself as strong. He sees himself as weak. Not only does he second guess himself, which he does quite actively, he doesn't actively admit that he is afraid that he's not strong enough, that he is too weak for the humans, machines, and the corruption of chaos.
Yeah. And for whom would he give his life? Like,
currently, there is one person who is not played yet. In the background, it's the war dancer he met, who showed him the way of the blade. It'd be kind of cool if I found someone at some point who would play that character. That would be great. That would be in a sort of familiar interest. But at the same time, it would probably be his mentor right now. His cruel and strong and harsh mentor, Kana or Half Moon, who teaches by force and is unrelenting. I don't know, similar in a way to, I don't know, Netflix Cobra Kai, or no, it's actually YouTube, but I'm not allowed to say Netflix. I screwed up.
He never stops relenting, does he?
He is relentless. He's a dark eminence. I mean, the first time I met Kana was in complete darkness in a tree platform. I climbed the tree platform at Epic Empires, and there sat this silent mentor who would not speak to me. And I would sit in front of him sort of like a wretch and start to try to explain myself. I've heard from you, I came all this way, and he would just look at me questioningly, and then at some point, like a real elf would, he would then say, but why? And he would push all the play on me again. It was one of the best scenes, definitely. So I guess it's either this character that hasn't been developed yet from the background, or it would be my mentor that I would probably give my life for.
And who is your nemesis? Like your worst nightmare? No, the guy you hate the most.
Again, not developed much. One of my favorite characters, very hard to play. There are very few cons where I feel comfortable playing this character. It would have to be in a forest, in my view, seeing as he's a forest elf. I don't have a direct nemesis yet. I hate human beings for the error of their ways and how they are unable to correct themselves. Of course, I hate chaos, which is one of the central elements of that world. but there is no person I personally hate. That I hope will develop at some point. Maybe somebody's interested in playing a counterpart to me. Again, it would be playing with each other. I would, if someone were willing to do such a thing, I would lift that person, and I would hope again that that person would lift me in return. I just don't have a person yet who would be willing to do so. I have a bunch of people I like fighting, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have a specific nemesis yet. A character who needs a lot more connection. But maybe this this character brainstorming we're doing here will help me find these.
Yeah. All right. So this was your Woodelf character, and today's show is all about introducing this new concept of the character CV.
Yes.
And how it helps you build a character and play a character so that you will get the most out of this event design we put together for our events. So we did that with my character from Sturmwacht, Jonathan Dorin, and we did that with Tom's character and your character. And last week we did it with Niklas Jekyll and Rätsel. We tried to work out what is the best way, what is this new direction we are going, or I don't know if it's really new, but the direction we are going in order to get the most out of our events. And it's always about how do I get the best drama, how do I get the best play, and how do play to lift and play to struggle feed into this. Yeah. So how would you go about with your war dancer in the play to lift and play to struggle concept?
For instance, playing to struggle was for me a moment at Epic Empires last year. Something happened. People came into the camp of the elves. They were dancers, and they danced in front of the shrine of the dancer's shrine. They were dancers from another culture, and they danced.
A lot of dancing going on.
A lot of dancing going on, and I said to them, this concept of dancing without a blade is completely foreign to me. I wonder why you're drawn to this shrine. And they said, well, we are dancers from another place. And for me, that was very uncomfortable to speak to these people because they were humans. So there was a lot of tension. I think the people were afraid as well, seeing me, because the character is so foreign as well, for an elf even, foreign with the big hair and everything. So it was a very uncomfortable situation for everyone, so that was good. But then my character was invited to go to the city, and that's something I always said I wouldn't do with the character, because what would a wood elf do in a place of smoke and violence and sin and bad smells? That makes no sense. But I had a good reason now to put myself in this really uncomfortable situation. So I went to the city, and of course people looked at me like the most foreign being, as if I was a mutant. It was crazy. There were people offering me very kindly if they could, kind sir, would you want to be stabbed? I would offer you this. Sort of stuff like that. That would happen, and it was great. There was immediately off the bat so much conflict, and then I came to their hall of dances, which was this beautiful place of light, and we had these really deep conversations. And I wouldn't have gone there if I hadn't had this urge to struggle. They gave me a good reason to struggle. Come to the place you would never want to go, because we came to the place we would never go. Yeah. Come with us. And I was like, okay, you struggled, I'll struggle. Let's do this. Yeah. And in the forest, they lifted my culture, and when I came to the city, I lifted theirs. And it wasn't even battling, because you have a lot of lifting through battle. You beat me, I beat you, blah blah blah. But this was lifting through dancing. I'd never done that before. That was so cool.
I've never seen that with you as well. You usually don't dance in the office.
Next week,
Like-
no.
It's like everybody else dances, but we never see you dancing. You know, it's like it's weird this way.
I'm the dancer in the shadows.
Yeah. It's like literally the worst joke ever. Never mind.
Trying to put in movie quotes. You quoted Rambo by accident a second ago.
Did I?
Yeah, it was a previous segment.
Ah, okay. I did not know this. Okay, so I think we covered this sufficiently today. I hope you guys had a lot of fun watching us. We had a lot of fun tonight talking about the characters. That's basically, if you go to your next game store and you get in there, it's a tip I have. Everybody will enjoy it there. Just tell them, let me tell you about my character. It's something people
Don't do it.
That's something people love in game stores. Trust me, I've run a game store myself and I always loved it. It's something that's very much appreciated.
The young orc whose family were killed by human beings, for instance.
Yeah, exactly.
They come to my country, they take our beautiful orcish women. That's a character I want to see at some point.
No, this night tonight was about the character CV and how it fits into our into the preferred play styles of play to struggle and play to lift, and how it fits into our design principles, and how it is a real good aid to develop a character that will help you get the most out of the design we put together for our events. Yeah. Thank you very much, guys. We leave you with that. It was a beautiful evening. See you next time around. Bye-bye.
Bye.